Hey guys, our Decline here, average picker. So yeah, I got some locks in the mail the other day. I had ordered a whole bunch of used ones, and including the Sargent. Nothing special about it. It's pretty standard Sargent. Here's our key for it. You can see it's kind of nasty down here. But yeah, I'm pretty sure when I got them all, I gave them all a little twist, and the keys worked. And then suddenly the key in this one all of a sudden stopped working. So a little repair work was in order, and we are about to go in and see what's going on with it. And of course, this is just one of those little things that can happen when you get used locks, because you never quite know. So we'll see if there's anything noticeable. Now my suspicion is, given those cuts, I think a spring might have gotten down into the core a little bit. But I'll tell you what I did, and that kind of made me doubt myself a little bit. A little step by step here on what happened. So we took the tailpiece off, put the key in the lock, and ran a shim in as far as we could get the shim. And you can see what happened in pushing the shim in. Of course, it got in only so far, and then it crimped itself pretty hard. So it could have been we were running into a spring. It didn't quite feel like that. It just felt like it kind of hit a dead end, but we'll find out here in a second. But yeah, once the shim was in, just put it in the clamp and picked it. We only had to pick maybe about half the lock. And here we are. So let's see what we've got. Oh yeah. Should we flip the camera? We can take a look. Okay, so I did try to pick the lock when the key wasn't working, and I didn't have a whole lot of success doing it that way. Oh gosh, what just fell out? Oh, a little wafer. Little wafer fell out. I'm not 100% sure which one it fell out of, but I bet putting the key back in we can see. I bet it came out maybe that one. I just put it in chamber 2. Oh gosh, there goes another wafer. I figured with a key like that we were going to see some master bidding or some mastering. All right, let's start dumping and see what we get here before I just lose more pins. I wonder where I put my favorite tweezers. There's our 1. There's 2 with a wafer. There's 3 with a wafer. We're not going to see any cool pins. I mean, this is just all going to be standard. Or 2. I'll bet there was a wafer in 2. That might not be the right one, but I'm going to go with something like that for right now. We'll see what's upstairs. There's my favorite tweezers. So yeah, you run into this stuff. The easiest thing to do is to start with shimming as much as you can shim. And of course the key in the lock will should give you quite a bit to work with, or at least it's going to give you your best chance of what you've got to work with. Maybe I didn't put... So it doesn't seem like it was a spring. I was really expecting to see a spring kind of half twisted around the core. Let's just go ahead and give it a whack and start dumping the springs out. And so there's springs are really stuck in there. Are there even other springs in there? All right, let's do a little cam. Oh yeah, I see them. They actually spilled out up here. So we need interactive video so you guys can just say, it's right there, it's right above you. Just take a look. So none of our springs show any of the signs. They were twisted up in the core. I love these tweezers, not great at picking up individual springs. We could puzzle this wafer thing back together here. Okay, so there we are without any of the mastering. Let's see what goes in what. Okay, well you can see I've got a wafer still left over, but of course that would be possible. And this one doesn't, nothing really sits well in that third chamber. Let's take a look at our shim, because our shim crimped. And that should give us some idea of how far in we were. So you can see our shim actually did not make it in very far. We were just barely. Somebody's thinking, did you run it this way? But no, no, it was not run that way. It was not covering that many pins. It was definitely run this way. So we would have just been covering up that 6th pin. Maybe starting in to hit the little bit of the 5th one. So this, and if you see, we don't show any, not sure how to, indentations. There's nothing jagged going on the tip of this shim, where if I had been butting into a spring, it would have been pushing through. If that makes sense, it would have been pushing through part of the spring, and we would very likely see, just because of the amount of force I used, we'd very likely see something had kind of chewed up the end of that shim, and we're not seeing it. So what I was probably butting up against was one of these little wafers, but I don't know if we'll really leave it keyed. What we'll probably do is just chuck the key and drop the wafers and go with it as an unkeyed lock, because, you know, who needs a key? But anyway, yeah, I just thought I would detail out a little bit of this, since it's kind of some lock repair, and you know, you're gonna buy some used locks, and some of them are gonna come in kind of gummy and not quite 100%, and maybe not working or whatever, and how to approach it. So yeah, the first thing I always do is remove the tailpiece and see how much of the lock I can shim with the key in, then try to kind of pick through the rest of it. And hopefully that works. And when it doesn't, just try something different. But I'd say, you know, 8 times out of 10, it's a pretty good approach, and it works So yeah, not entirely sure what was hanging this up. I'm just gonna go with some weird mastering there and a well-worn key that maybe just was not lifting quite to the end of the shear line on one of those. So anyway, guys, yeah, quick little video there, kind of impromptu. I was just thought, I should record this. You have a good one.